Science fiction isn't just about space and technology. It's about worlds where anything is possible, where people can fly, robots can dream, and the laws of reality obey imagination. Sometimes you just want to escape from everyday life and watch a film that will take you to another universe. In this video, I've selected 10 science fiction films that will definitely give you a couple of hours of true cinematic magic. Get comfortable. Let's begin. The sci-fi thriller Looper. This film combines an intense time travel plot with moral dilemmas and personal conflicts. The action begins in 2044 in a dystopian Kansas City, where Joe works as a looper, a hitman who eliminates people sent back from the future by the mob. His life is simple. He kills victims who appear blindfolded in a field, receives silver, and lives the high life partying until it's time to close the loop. That is, kill his future self for gold and retire. Joe dreams of a better life in France, saving money and avoiding attachments. But when his friend Seth fails his assignment by letting his older self escape, the mob begins hunting them both. Soon, Joe faces his own loop. Old Joe appears from 2074 but escapes after knocking his younger self unconscious. It turns out Old Joe has returned with a mission to kill the Rainmaker, a future tyrant in his childhood to change history and save his wife. The mob, led by Abe, pursues both Joes, and a race begins where young Joe must decide: eliminate his future self or risk everything for the truth. The film has a somewhat complex structure, and I think even this description might have confused you a bit, but in the movie itself, everything is explained thoroughly, so it won't significantly impact your viewing experience. The Dark Tower, a science fiction western from 2017, inspired by Stephen King's series of novels. Here we also have a multiverse where our Earth of the 2010s exists alongside Midworld, a mysterious reality inspired by westerns and dark fantasy. Midworld is, a burned wasteland with abandoned villages, ruined cities, and remnants of ancient technology like portals and magical machines, with the Dark Tower at its center, a gigantic structure holding reality together against chaos. Here live gunslingers like Roland, the last knights of order, and demons spawned by darkness beyond the tower. Earth in the film is modern New York with subways, schools, and skyscrapers, but it's connected to Midworld through dreams and portals, creating a contrast between the ordinary and the mystical. The plot begins with Jake, an 11-year-old New Yorker, an ordinary kid who, after his father's death, sees dreams of the Dark Tower, the gunslinger Roland, and the Man in Black, drawing them in his notebook despite his psychiatrist mother's skepticism. His vision leads to a portal in an abandoned house, where he's transported to Midworld and meets Roland, the last gunslinger whose family was killed by Walter, the Man in Black. Walter, a magician and trickster, wants to destroy the tower by using Jake's mind, whose psi power can break its protection and is already destroying worlds beyond. Unfortunately, cramming the entire universe's concept into 95 minutes is difficult, so the film contains many simplifications and the story ends up rather rushed, which disappointed King's fans. But watching Elba and McConaughey's performances while immersing yourself in an alternative universe is generally worthwhile. Moon 2112, a science fiction drama with elements of psychological thriller. The film had a very limited release and coincided with the year Avatar and Star Trek came out, against which many could easily have missed it. The action takes place in the near future in 2012 on the Serang lunar base, operated by Lunar Industries. Sam Bell is the only employee on the station, mining helium-3 for Earth's energy needs. He's been living alone for almost 3 years, completing a contract that lasts 1,095 days. His only companion is the robot Gertie, who monitors the base and helps with daily life. Sam is counting the days until he returns home to his wife Tess and daughter Eve, keeping in touch through recorded video messages, as direct communication with Earth is supposedly impossible due to a satellite malfunction. The plot picks up pace when, 2 weeks before the end of his contract, Sam begins to notice strange things. He sees hallucinations. A girl on the base feels weakness and loses concentration, and during an inspection of the harvesting machine, he gets into an accident, crashing the lunar rover and losing consciousness. Waking up in the medical bay, he discovers that Gertie is hiding the truth from him, and soon he meets a second Sam, a younger, more energetic clone of himself who has just awakened for a new shift. Gods of Egypt. Before you is an alternative ancient Egypt where mythology comes alive on a grand scale. This isn't any historical reality, but a fantastic universe where gods are gigantic beings with golden blood ruling over humans from golden palaces and pyramids, surrounded by sand dunes in the Nile. Cities are full of markets, temples, and statues, and magic permeates everything. The gods themselves can transform into winged beasts. The desert conceals portals to the afterlife, and the heavens are home to Ra floating on a solar barge. The plot begins with the coronation of Horus, god of the sky, whom his uncle Set, god of the desert, betrays, tearing out his eyes and seizing the throne of Egypt while killing his brother Osiris. Set builds a tyranny, forcing people to erect a tower in his honor, while Horus is exiled blind into the desert. After some time, Bek, a clever thief, loses his beloved Zaya under Set's oppression and steals one of Horus's eyes from his treasury to return it to the god in exchange for saving the girl. The film itself is far from greatness, but it manages to entertain and immerse you in another world, which is all we need today. Super 8. Combining the tense mystery of an alien creature with a nostalgic coming-of-age story in the spirit of the 80s. The action begins in February 1979 in the fictional town of Lillian. Joe Lamb, a 13-year-old boy, is coping with his mother's death in an accident at the steel mill, while his father, Deputy Sheriff Jack Lamb, grows distant from his son, immersed in work and grief. Summer comes with hope. Joe and his friends, Charles, Carrie, and Martin, are filming an amateur zombie movie on a Super 8 camera. They convince Alice Deinard, a girl from a troubled family, to play the female lead, and their friendship begins to strengthen. The plot takes on dramatic scale when one night, while filming a scene at the train station, the kids witness a catastrophe. A train carrying military cargo derails in a deafening crash. They run away but manage to see something huge breaking out of a wagon. Soon, strange things begin in Lillian. Dogs disappear, equipment malfunctions, and the military, under the command of Colonel Nellick, takes over the town, hiding the truth. Joe and his friends decide to investigate, using the film from the camera, which captured something incredible. This turn opens the way to an adventure full of dangers and discoveries. Elysium, combining dynamic action scenes in a dystopian future. Director Neil Blomkamp, after the success of District 9, undoubtedly a powerful film about aliens, created a visually impressive movie where science fiction serves as a mirror to contemporary problems. The action begins in 2154 on a ruined Earth, where humanity is divided. The rich live on the orbital station Elysium, enjoying luxury and medical technologies, while the poor struggle for survival in the slums of an overpopulated Los Angeles. Our hero Max DaCosta, played by Matt Damon, a former car thief, now works at a factory producing robots for the Armadine Corporation. His life is a routine of labor and dreaming of a better future, but there really is no hope. Elysium is closed to Earth's illegals, and local authorities harshly suppress any infiltration attempts. The plot intensifies when Max receives a lethal dose of radiation due to an accident at the factory. He has only 5 days left, and his only chance to survive is to reach Elysium, where there are medical pods that cure any disease. In desperation, he turns to an underground hacker, Spider, who agrees to help in exchange for hacking Armadine's data. Max is equipped with an exoskeleton and sent on a mission, but he's pursued by the psychopathic agent Kruger, working for the defense minister. From this moment begins Max's struggle for his life and justice, leading to a collision between two worlds. Released in 2013, Elysium was often compared to Blomkamp's debut District 9, and many found this film less original, which reduced interest after the hype around the first film. Nevertheless, it's also quite good. I Am Mother, a film exploring artificial intelligence and human nature with a post-apocalyptic isolation atmosphere. The action begins in the future, after an unspecified catastrophe that wiped out humanity. In an underground bunker designed for civilization's revival, a humanoid robot called Mother activates one of 63,000 frozen embryos and raises a girl, calling her daughter. Mother raises her in sterile isolation, teaching her science, ethics, and morality, claiming that the outside world is contaminated and uninhabitable. Daughter grows up believing she is humanity's last hope, and her only contact with the world is lessons and dances with the robot. However, the plot gains dramatic momentum when one night, Daughter hears a knock on the bunker door from the other side. Opening the airlock, she lets in an injured woman who claims robots destroyed humans, and the surface isn't contaminated at all. The woman asks for help, but her appearance causes conflict. Mother insists she's right, while Daughter begins to doubt what she's been taught. This turn triggers a chain of events revealing the bunker's secrets and Mother's true intentions. Space Sweepers. A science fiction action film with elements of comedy and adventure. The action begins in 2092 when Earth has become uninhabitable due to pollution. The UTS Corporation, not to be confused with BTS, builds orbital stations for the elite, planning to terraform Mars. Ordinary people, like the crew of the garbage collection ship Victory, fight for survival by collecting space junk. Its crew, pilot Tai Ho, Captain Zhang, mechanic Tiger Park, and robot Bubs, are constantly in debt but stick together for the dream of a better life. The plot gains intrigue when the crew finds an android girl named Dorothy in the debris, who is considered a weapon of mass destruction, a nanobot bomb. They decide to sell her for huge money, but soon learn that both UTS and rebels are hunting Dorothy. Her abilities can literally destroy orbital stations. Taeho and his crew find themselves at the center of this conflict, where their greed clashes with moral choices. This turn launches a race for survival and a fight for the future of all humanity. Lockout. Well, this is a silly science fiction action film with elements of thriller and comedy. A film you can watch if you just want to relax without any brain strain. The action begins in 2079 in Washington, where former CIA agent Snow is arrested on false charges of espionage and murdering a colleague. He's interrogated but maintains sarcastic calm, knowing that evidence of his innocence is hidden somewhere. Meanwhile, on the orbital prison MC-1, where 500 of the most dangerous criminals are kept in artificial sleep, a malfunction occurs. The US President's daughter, Emily Warnock, arrives on a humanitarian mission, but the inmates wake up and take over the station. The plot picks up pace when the government offers Snow a deal: infiltrate MS-1, rescue Emily, and regain his freedom. He's sent alone on a shuttle armed only with a pistol and his wit. On the station, he faces chaos. The psychopath Alex and his brother Heidel lead the riot, threatening to drop the prison onto Earth. Snow finds Emily, but their escape is complicated by insane inmates and an unstable orbit. This moment opens the way to an intense struggle for survival and revealing the truth about Snow's real mission. The film Ad Astra from 2019 coincided with the release of Joker, which attracted much more attention thanks to the hype and growing genre popularity of anti-heroes. The action begins in the near future, where humanity has colonized the Moon and Mars, but lives under the threat of mysterious energy surges coming from space. Roy McBride, played by Brad Pitt, is an astronaut known for his coolness. His pulse literally never rises above 80 beats per minute. He works on a giant antenna stretching into the stratosphere. During a mission, a surge destroys the structure, and Roy miraculously survives, falling to Earth with a parachute. He's summoned to US Space Command headquarters, where a general reveals that the surges are connected to the Lima project, launched 16 years ago by his father, Clifford McBride, who was searching for intelligent life near Neptune but disappeared without a trace. The plot gains dramatic intensity when Roy is sent on a secret mission to reach Mars, transmit a message to his father from there, and, if necessary, destroy the source of the surges. He leaves Earth with a partner, leaving his wife Eve behind, and faces his first trial: a pirate attack on the Moon. This incident emphasizes the fragility of his mission and launches an odyssey across the entire solar system, where Roy must find his father. That's it for today's films, by the way. I hope you enjoyed the video and found something interesting for yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll hear you in new videos.